I've made a lot of videos about life in Montreal. Some of these are guides that someone who is visiting Montreal might stumble upon. Other ones are like neighborhood tours or information about moving to Montreal. Because of this, and I sometimes meet these people on the streets of Montreal, I'll meet people who say to me, "Hey Dan, your videos helped me move to the city, thank you." Or, "Oh, like you're that," or like sometimes they don't even know my name. They're just like, "Oh, you're that YouTube guy. Yeah, your videos were helpful. I moved here from wherever, Halifax, you know?" These are like nice little moments. I mean, I always love meeting someone who is familiar with my videos or knowing that I made some little impact in some way. But today what I want to briefly talk about is that impact. Is that impact actually a good thing? Because I got a very curious comment on my most recent video. So the comment says, "It's no secret that Quebecois value their French language and culture. In fact, French is the official language of Quebec, albeit in decline. While Dan does good work promoting Montreal to his fellow Canadians and international audiences, it's clear that English Canadians, by settling in Quebec for economic reasons, as well as the mass immigration of recent years, are contributing to the anglicization of Quebec. Gradually, due to these migratory factors, Quebec is losing its distinct character, which differentiates it from the rest of Canada and the United States." So this person is indicating that it's an interesting comment because on the one hand, they admit I do good videos showcasing Montreal, but they're kind of questioning the outcome of those videos. They're saying the outcome, basically everything you love about the city is at risk by too many people seeing these videos and taking away that which you love about it. And I'm a classic overthinker. I overthink many things in my life, and I've certainly thought about this topic before. It's something I sometimes I often wonder, am I making a positive impact? And of course, I started by saying I'll meet people on the streets who say that I have, but that's an individual level. On the societal level, am I actually doing something good with my videos? And I have moments of doubt where I wonder if I am. And to give you an example, like there are certain cafes or restaurants or just locations in Montreal that I won't showcase in videos. Not because I don't want them to succeed. I mean, I want every business in Montreal to succeed, but I'm talking about places that are already like fairly busy and like full of locals and doing well. And I just don't want to put them in a list of like 10 places you need to visit in Montreal, because if suddenly there's a bunch of tourists lined up or a bunch of new people there, it will just change the vibe, and it will, in my opinion, change it for the worse. On the one hand, you could say that's selfish. You could say, "Well, Dan, why do you get to keep these places, but other people can't come experiencing them?" But the truth is, like, if I met someone, I would tell them. It's just a matter of scale. It's like if too many people know about something, it's changed forever. And I think that's what this comment is worried about, that too many people discover Montreal. It's like, okay, a few of you Anglos can come in here, but too many of you, and we lose our distinct character. There's a couple of interesting replies here. And there's a couple of people here kind of arguing back and forth. I'm gonna skip those. But here's a longer reply. This person says, "The threat that you perceive to Montreal's character is a pessimistic way to look at the changes in the city. But what's happening here is also happening in Barcelona, Paris, Berlin, London, or any migratory world capital where the same complaint is being made. Hordes of relative newcomers are changing the character of a place for the worse. I would add Mexico City to that list, another city that I used to film in. Like early in my YouTube journey, I was living in Mexico City, 2017, 2018, which, as I understand it, it was a very different city back then than it is today. During COVID, a lot of remote workers from the United States and I'm sure Canadians and Europeans too, but due to the proximity to Mexico, mostly Americans moved to Mexico City, and I hear it's really gentrified and locals are really upset about the number of gringos who have moved in. And that's sad because I love Mexico City. But it's just a reality that some of those people could watch my videos on their journey there. And it was the same deal. Like I met all these Mexicans who were like, thank you for showcasing our country and our city in a positive light. Thank you for sharing these messages. But when too many people get the message and then all move there, it's like, whoa. We didn't mean to share it that much. Like share it with us, but don't share it with everyone. Anyway. Another way is that these changes mean Montreal, despite its flaws, is an attractive place to live, and that fact has been discovered. Exactly. People are discovering the fact. The secret is out. The problems of popularity. So many people want a piece of this town. In fact, too many, or perhaps the wrong kind as far as you're concerned. So this person is kind of taking jabs at the original comment and saying the wrong kind as far as you're concerned. It could be English speakers. It could be people of a different ethnicity, a different socioeconomic background. It's like, oh, you wanted this to be only a city for these people. But why can't it be for everyone? And I mean, that's the thing about Quebec as a province, which is interesting when you compare it to other parts of Canada, because it seems like there are English speakers across Canada who also think that there's too much immigration, or like we're losing some kind of Canadian identity by having mass scale immigration. But those people are typically thought of as being racist or kind of closed-minded with that viewpoint. Whereas in Quebec, because there's a distinct language and it's culturally distinct from the rest of Canada, it's seen as being more justified to hold on to the traditional identity in a way that the rest of Canada doesn't see. But it's curious to think about what exactly the difference is. And if it is, it's like, if we're going to allow that in one place, why don't we allow that everywhere? Yeah, it's an interesting, I think I'd get too sidetracked if I followed that thought. But it's interesting to think about how culture is perceived in the different parts of Canada. But yeah, I want to finish this comment. So the person says, too late, the genie is out of the bottle. And is that such a bad thing? Healthy, growing cities, places that aren't stagnant or dying, have always been magnets for people looking for a way of life, opportunity, a change of scenery, a tribe of friends, affordability, or just a place where they can breathe and feel at home. All these diverse individuals arrive with their desires, talents, and aspirations. And they add to the churn that makes a city a vibrant, living entity. Variety is the spice of life, and Montreal has become a very spicy town. I love it. Wow. The two sides of the debate here, right? The first one making, I would say, a comment that struck me enough that I wanted to make this video to respond. And then the second one, perhaps better than I could, making the case for this not being a bad thing, this actually being a good thing, this being part of what makes a city a thriving, vibrant place. Interesting debate. I am not. I'm not making this video to say the second person's right, the first person's wrong. Actually, I think there might be some truth to both. I think diversity is our strength. That's not just a cliche. Like, it really is, especially in a country like Canada that's so new, and immigration has played such a vital role in every part of our society. And to deny that is just to deny the reality of our nation's history. But it can also be true that if your policies are too open, people will just come and see our country as a place to invest in, not to live in, just to buy up property and then, funnel the money overseas. You need to have policies that actually protect Canadians and Quebecois as well, to hold on to what is dear to them, and to hopefully find the right balance for newcomers to keep the parts of their identity and their culture which are important to them and integrate that into our country. But again, we're getting a bit sidetracked from the original point about Montreal, which I think is an interesting point of view, and it's one I do think about. I do think about how my videos impact this city that I love. And I'd be curious to hear people's thoughts as well.